Human. Just $2 for me? I am expensive. You can't afford what happens next.
They say every great mistake starts with the words, "How bad could it be?" And for Dane Mercer, a broke human mechanic stranded on the glittering sprawl of Clyra 9, the answer came wrapped in purple skin, sharp teeth, and an attitude that could level a city block. He hadn't meant to buy her. He just wanted a drink. The neon bazaar was a maze of colors, glowing signs, shouting traders, and the thick, sweet smell of alien spices mixed with jet fuel. Dane's boots crunched against broken hollow glass as he ducked through a crowd of traders yelling prices in at least 9 different languages. He just wanted a moment of peace. Maybe a cheap ale. Definitely not another intergalactic headache. Then he heard it. "Only 2 credits, 2. That's cheaper than a Vaporhound collar." He turned. A merchant with 4 arms was trying to sell something locked in a shimmering containment field, and that something was glaring straight at him. Eyes glowing like twin suns, muscles tense and fangs bared in what he could only describe as, "Please untie me so I can commit homicide." "Is that a person?" Dane asked, squinting. The merchant waved a lazy tentacle. "Barely. Tribal species. Says she's royalty, huh? Been nothing but trouble since we caught her sneaking onto freighter docks. I'll throw in the shock collar for free." Inside the field, the purple-skinned alien girl snarled, her voice laced with venom and pride. "I am not for sale, you gelatinous idiot." Her tone snapped through the noise like a plasma whip. The crowd laughed. Dane winced. "You're selling a sentient being?" he said, incredulous. The merchant shrugged. "Hey, the galaxy's got rules." She trespassed. "Bounty laws say she's fair trade. Nobody's buying, though. Too expensive to feed, too loud to train." "2 credits, Dane muttered, shaking his head. "That's what, like, a bottle of warm synth beer?" "Exactly." The merchant grinned. A deal for a desperate man. Dane should have walked away. He really should have. But then she looked at him, not with fear, but with defiance. Like a queen forced into chains, daring him to blink first. And something about that look, stubborn, unbreakable, punched straight through his common sense. "Fine," he said. "I'll take her." The bazaar fell silent. Everyone stared as he tossed 2 glowing credits across the stall. The merchant's laugh echoed down the street. "You'll regret it, human!" The containment field dropped with a hiss. The alien girl stretched, cracked her knuckles, and glared at Dane like he'd just declared war. "You bought me?" Dane rubbed the back of his neck. "Technically, yeah, but only 2. Unacceptable." She snapped. "Do you have any idea who I am?" "Someone who is about to be shipped off to a scrap colony." He guessed. Her nostrils flared. "I am Zikara of the Obsidian Vale, heiress to the Bladewind matriarchate. I command armies." "And now you command my headache," Dane interrupted. "Congrats," her jaw dropped. "You dare interrupt a noble of the Vale?" "Lady, I just spent my last 2 credits to keep you from being sold to a Harku mining guild." "You're welcome." She blinked, thrown off for half a second. "You rescued me? For 2 credits?" "Technically, I was aiming for a quiet night and bad decisions. Guess I got both." They stood there for a moment, him tired and mildly regretful. Her furious and somehow majestic even in torn tribal garb and war paint. Finally, she crossed her arms. "Fine, I will accompany you. But I will not listen to you. That's already obvious. I will not obey. Didn't ask you to. I will not." Yeah, Dane sighed, waving her off. "You're royalty, I'm broke, everyone's unhappy." "Welcome to Clyra 9. They walked through the neon-lit streets together, drawing stares, mostly because she looked like a warrior goddess dropped into a city of smugglers and holographic strippers. "Why are all these signs glowing?" she asked suspiciously. "They're neon. Advertising. Welcome to civilization." She narrowed her eyes at a flickering sign that read, "Half-price holo dancers tonight." "I do not like your civilization. Join the club." As they passed a noodle vendor, Zikara sniffed the air and frowned. "What does that smell?" "Fried tentacle," she gagged. "Your species eats its enemies?" "Only the tasty ones. You jest," he grinned. "Mostly." They reached Dane's workshop, a cluttered garage filled with half-disassembled hoverbikes, cracked android heads, and a fridge that hummed louder than his tools. She took one look around and sneered. "You live here?" "It's not living," he corrected. "It's existing creatively." "I slept in a crystal palace carved from the bones of mountains. Cool. You can take the couch. The what? He pointed at a stained old seat that had definitely seen better centuries. She poked it like it might bite her. It smells of oil and despair. Yeah, that's the new fragrance line, Eau de Mechanic. She dropped onto the couch with the grace of a queen on a throne, then crossed her legs and glared at him again. Human, if you think purchasing me entitles you to command me, he raised his hands. Whoa, relax. I'm not that kind of guy. You're free. That seemed to stun her more than anything. Free? She echoed as if tasting the word. Yeah, no collars, no owners. You can go wherever you want. Her expression softened for a flicker of a moment, then twisted into suspicion. Then why did you pay for me? Dane leaned against his workbench and shrugged. Guess I couldn't stand watching someone cage another person, even if that person looks like she could strangle me with her hair. She tilted her head, studying him. You are strange. I get that a lot. A long silence fell, the kind that buzzes between two people who don't know whether to fight or flirt. Zakara finally broke it with a smirk. You paid 2 credits for a royal. Either you are brave or profoundly stupid. Is both an option? Her lips curved. I like both. He froze. Did you just flirt with me? She frowned, pretending not to understand. Flirt? Is that a human combat technique? He laughed. Sometimes it is. Later that night, Dane found her rummaging through his fridge, holding a jar of pickled tentacles like it was a live grenade. What is this abomination? Dinner. She slammed the jar shut. Your species is doomed. Not the first time someone's told me that. Then, in perfect seriousness, she asked, You truly expect me to eat? Dead appendages? No, I expect you to sit there and complain about them while I eat. Seems fair. She rolled her glowing eyes, but sat beside him anyway, close enough that he could smell the faint metallic scent of her skin, like starlight and war. Halfway through his meal, she asked quietly, Do all humans rescue strangers they cannot afford? Only the lonely ones. She looked at him for a long time, then said softly, Then perhaps I should stay. For a while, he blinked, just like that. I thought you didn't listen to humans. Her grin turned sharp. I said I wouldn't listen. I never said I wouldn't bother you. And that was the moment Dane knew. His 2-credit mistake was about to become the most expensive decision of his life. Some people wake up to birds. Dane Mercer woke up to screaming, the kind of scream that made you wonder if someone was being murdered or discovering instant coffee for the first time. He bolted upright, tripped over a toolbox and saw smoke pouring from the kitchen. And there she was, Zakara, heir to the Obsidian Vale, conqueror of nations, standing in nothing but his oversized mechanic jacket and a war face of panic, shaking a microwave like it owed her money. It made noises. Then it exploded, she yelled. Dane rubbed his face. You put metal in it again, didn't you? How was I to know your food-warming sorcery dislikes blades? He sighed. Because I said, and I quote, Don't touch that. That's literally the name of this section of our lives. She crossed her arms, still holding a half-melted fork. Your instructions are vague. You said it cooks food. Forks are tools of cooking. You also stabbed a loaf of bread. It looked threatening. Dane opened the window to vent the smoke. Great. Now my place smells like burnt toast and royalty, she sniffed indignantly. Your dwelling smelled of oil and sadness before. Now it smells of victory, he grinned. You're impossible. Is that a compliment? Depends on the day. Later, while he repaired the singed microwave, Zakara examined his tools like sacred relics. So these are your weapons? They're wrenches. Ah, primitive bludgeons. Sure. Especially when you owe rent. I do not owe, she started, then paused, realizing the trap. This is humor again, isn't it? You're catching on. Over the next few hours, Dane discovered 3 universal truths. Alien royalty doesn't understand chores. Alien royalty breaks everything they touch, and he was definitely starting to like her. When she wasn't threatening to conquer the washing machine, she was poking his droid assistant, which beeped nervously and hid under the counter. It fears me, she observed proudly. You yelled at it in 5 dialects. It should appreciate the effort. Eventually, he sat her down with a bowl of cereal. She stared at it like it was an alien life form. Technically, it was. These float. They're cornflakes. They mock gravity. He handed her a spoon. Welcome to Earth-style cuisine. She took one bite and froze. It is sweet. Yeah, sugar. Her pupils widened. I desire more. Easy, Princess Diabetes. Back at the Neon Bazaar, rumors spread fast. Word was a broke human had bought the feral princess of the Vale for 2 credits. And that meant trouble. Because Zikara wasn't just any runaway royal. She was wanted by at least 3 galactic factions. The Crimson Legion, who wanted her back. The Guild of Collectors, who wanted to sell her again. And her mother, who probably just wanted to strangle her personally. Dane had no idea. He was too busy teaching her the sacred art of, please don't press that button. Human, what does this do? She asked, holding his plasma cutter. Don't, too late. A bright blue arc sizzled, slicing clean through his countertop. Touch that. He finished weakly. She blinked at the glowing scar. I am impressed. Your weapon hums with obedience. It's a tool. All tools are weapons in the right hands. He gave her a look. Remind me never to give you scissors. When the chaos finally settled, Zikara found herself staring out the window at the endless neon skyline. Your world, it never sleeps. Neither do I, Dane muttered, collapsing on the couch. You jest, but I can feel it. This city hums like a beast in chains. Yeah, he said quietly. That's why I like it. Everyone's too busy surviving to care who you used to be. For a moment, the humor dropped away. She looked at him, eyes softer than he'd ever seen. You are not what I expected from a human. Better or worse. Different. I'll take different. Then she ruined the moment, of course. Also, you snore, he groaned. You don't even sleep. Precisely why it annoys me more. That night, while Dane tinkered on a hover bike, Zikara walked in holding one of his power wrenches. Human, she said, serious as death. Your device is vibrating. He nearly choked. It's supposed to. It's a torque driver. I see. She turned it on. It buzzed loudly. Powerful. Does it please you? Dane dropped his tools. You really need to stop phrasing things like that. Like what? Like you're in a bad holovid. Holovid? Never mind, she smirked. Your face turns red when embarrassed. Fascinating. Later, while trying to fix a damaged delivery droid, they ended up working side by side, him holding a panel, her using her strange bioluminescent markings to light the area. For the first time, she didn't mock him. For the first time, he didn't complain. There, she murmured, pressing a wire into place. The droid whirred, back to life and chirped. Gratefully, you're not bad at this, he said. You expected me to fail? I expected you to stab. Iterate, that was plan B. They laughed, actually. Laughed. And the sound filled the little workshop like sunlight. Then came the loud metallic knock. Dane froze. Please tell me that's the pizza delivery droid. Zikara's eyes narrowed. No, that's military rhythm. There's such a thing as military knocking? Yes, and whoever it is. They found me. Dane peeked out the window. 3 armored figures stood in the alley, glowing insignia marking them as Crimson Legion trackers. Oh great, he muttered. Bounty hunters. Because this week wasn't weird enough. You may wish to hide. I should hide. You're the wanted one. Yes, and they'll shoot you first to clear the field. Your species makes excellent distractions. Remind me why I rescued you again. Because you are soft-hearted and poor at long-term decision-making. Fair. They dove behind his hoverbike as plasma bolts sizzled through the workshop. Tools exploded, the fridge died a heroic death, and Zikara yelled something that sounded like an ancient battle cry and a swear word in the same breath. You said you wanted excitement. She shouted over the noise. I said I wanted dinner. Then fight and earn it. When the smoke cleared, 3 unconscious bounty hunters lay tied up in his garage. Zikara stood over them, hair wild, eyes blazing, holding his wrench like a warhammer. Victory, she declared. You dented my hoverbike. A small price for glory. You're paying for the parts. I have no currency. Figures. They both burst into exhausted laughter. She turned to him, still breathing hard from the fight, and grinned. The kind of grin that could melt circuits. Admit it, human. You are enjoying this. You're impossible. And yet you keep me. 2 credits well spent, huh? You'll regret it, she teased, voice low. But not tonight. He blinked. Wait, what does that mean? It means you still snore. I will use the wrench next time. The human didn't expect waking up to the sound of loud clanging metal and an alien shouting, Where is my clothing, human? To be the first thing in the morning. But that's exactly how Jarek's day began. He opened one eye and blinked up at the tall, violet woman who had somehow managed to make herself even angrier overnight. Kira stood at the foot of his cot wearing his spare shirt. Well, trying to. The shirt only reached halfway down her abdomen, stretching uncomfortably over her chest like it was fighting for its life. Good morning to you too, Yarek said, sitting up and rubbing his eyes. And, clothing situation, that's all I had in your size. Or close to your size. Close? She shouted, gesturing wildly. This thing feels like it's suffocating my dignity. He couldn't help it. He laughed. Trust me, that's not what suffocation looks like. It's... Actually, never mind, Kira glared. Human humor is always about bodies and mating, isn't it? Yarek smirked. Only when there's a body like that in the room. Her expression froze, ears twitching slightly. A purple flush crept up her neck, betraying her embarrassment. You will refrain from such insolence or I will... Kill me? Bite me? Threaten me with that stick again? He teased, standing and stretching. Come on, you owe me breakfast after last night's rescue mission. She blinked. Breakfast? You still think about food after I nearly broke your arm. That's how humans cope, he said, moving toward the small cooking unit by the wall. We eat our problems. Or drink them. Depends on the problem. As he cracked a few ration eggs into a pan, Kira watched suspiciously, arms crossed, tail flicking like a cat ready to pounce. You actually cook? She asked. Don't you just absorb nutrients through tubes like most of your kind? Yarek laughed again. I'm from Earth, not those sterile colonies out past Sigma 9. We still like our food warm and our women, He caught himself mid-sentence, but the damage was done. Kira raised an eyebrow. Your women what, human? Nothing. Our breakfast warm? He said quickly, though the grin on his face said otherwise. She moved closer, her height casting a shadow over him. You humans always stumble when speaking truth. He looked up, unflinching. Maybe because truth makes the room hotter than my stove. For a few seconds, they just stared at each other, the sizzling pan filling the silence between them. Then, to his surprise, Kira let out a low, unexpected chuckle. I see why the traitor called you reckless, she said, taking the plate he offered. You play with danger as if it were a pet. Only when danger's wearing my shirt, he said, sliding into a chair. Her laugh startled even herself. It wasn't harsh or sharp, but almost melodic. Yarek found himself listening more to that sound than eating. After breakfast, they left his cramped workshop and stepped into the neon-lit bazaar. Floating ships passed overhead. Vendors shouted in at least 5 languages, and holographic signs flickered like half-drunk fireflies. Kira kept her spear strapped to her back, drawing more than a few stares. Yarek leaned toward her and whispered, You're kind of hard to blend in, you know. I am a warrior, not a shadow, she said proudly. Yeah, but we're trying not to get noticed by the local authorities. You did, technically assault a traitor last night. He insulted me. He also had 3 cyber arms and a stun cannon. You knocked him unconscious with a spoon. It was a ladle, she corrected. Jarek grinned. Right, my mistake. You're terrifying. They stopped at a market stall where a short alien with 12 eyes was selling fashionable interspecies garments. Jarek sighed. Let's get you something less apocalypse chic. I will not wear human clothes, Kira declared. These are galactic clothes, he argued. Look, stretchy material, breathable, resistant to plasma burns. Very practical for someone who apparently fights breakfast utensils. After much eye-rolling and muttering in her language, she finally picked out something, a green combat tunic that fit her far better than his shirt. When she stepped out of the changing booth, Yarek nearly dropped the bag he was holding. Wow, you look... He trailed off, realizing how human it sounded. Functional? She offered flatly. Dangerously functional, he muttered. Kira pretended not to hear, but the corners of her mouth twitched upward as they walked back through the crowded streets. An announcement blared from overhead speakers. Attention! Unauthorized alien combatants are under investigation for last night's bizarre incident. Report any suspicious activity. Kira froze. They are hunting me. Jarek grabbed her wrist gently. Then we move. I know a place to hide. She didn't pull away. Instead, she met his gaze with a mix of defiance and trust that surprised them both. Why help me again, human? You already paid 2 credits. You owe me nothing. Because, he said, leading her into a dark alley, I think you're worth a lot more than that. She blinked, silent for a moment, then snorted. You think flattery will save your species? Not all of it, he said, smirking. Just me. The alley led them into a maintenance corridor glowing faintly blue from leaking coolant pipes. They slipped through a half-broken security gate and emerged into an abandoned hangar filled with dusty starship parts. Jarek tapped a rusted control pad and dim lights flickered to life.
Welcome to my home away from home.
No cameras, no patrols, no nosy drones. Kira walked slowly among the broken ships, brushing her hand across one hull. You live in a graveyard. Better than being buried in one, he said. Besides, the junkyard's quiet, and I can fix most of this stuff, eventually. She looked back at him, curiosity flickering in her eyes. You fix things. I destroy things. Perhaps we are two halves of one inefficient organism. Jarek chuckled. Inefficient, sure, but probably fun at parties. She smiled faintly before turning serious again. They will not stop hunting me. My people, my clan betrayed me. I have no place to go. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Then stay here. At least until I figure something out. Her gaze softened and she tilted her head. You offer safety in exchange for nothing. Why? He shrugged. Maybe I like impossible women. Her tail flicked again, betraying amusement. Then prepare to regret it, human. Wouldn't be the first time, he said with a grin. That night, as the neon glow from the city bled through the cracks of the hangar walls, Jarek lay on his cot, listening to the soft hum of machinery. From across the room, Kira's voice drifted through the dimness. Human, do you always risk your life for strangers? Only the interesting ones, he replied. She was quiet for a while before adding softly, You are strange, Jarek of Earth, but perhaps not unpleasant. He smiled in the dark. I'll take that as a compliment. It was not one. Sure it wasn't, he said, chuckling. Outside, distant sirens echoed through the city as the two unlikely companions drifted into uneasy, almost comfortable silence, each pretending not to notice that. Somehow, danger and affection were starting to blur into the same thing. By the time the city's twin suns began to rise, the hangar already smelled like burnt metal, old grease, and very bad decisions. Jarek woke up to find Kira hanging upside down from a ship's support beam, tinkering with a plasma coil in one hand and humming an alien melody that sounded halfway between a war chant and a lullaby. How long have you been up there? He asked groggily, rubbing his face. Since your snoring began sounding like a wounded reactor, she said without missing a beat. I thought you were dying, he grinned sleepily. Nah, just dreaming about you yelling at me again. Her tail flicked with mock irritation. Then it was a nightmare, he smirked. Wouldn't call it that. She dropped down effortlessly, landing right in front of him. Human, you truly have a strange obsession with death and flirting. It's not flirting, he said, stretching. It's intergalactic diplomacy. Diplomacy? She repeated, raising an eyebrow ridge. Yeah, the art of making peace. One compliment at a time, her lip curved slightly, the faintest hint of a smile. Then your diplomacy is persistent, thank you. I work hard on it. Before she could reply, a soft chime from the far wall interrupted them. Jarek's eyes darted to a flickering hollow screen. A red warning flashed. Warrant issued. Fugitive located near Sector 19. Kira's expression hardened. They've tracked me, Jarek cursed. That was faster than I thought. How did they find this place? She demanded, scanning the shadows. I don't know. Maybe I used an unshielded beacon last night when I contacted my old supplier. She crossed her arms. So your quiet hiding place was not so quiet after all. Hey, in my defense, I didn't expect them to crack a 50-year-old satellite frequency. You humans and your optimism, she muttered. It's suicidal. He grabbed his jacket and a plasma pistol from a shelf. Then we'll die stylishly. Her eyes met his, and despite the tension, she almost smiled again. Your humor is maddening. And it's all that keeps me from panicking, he said, opening the side hatch. Let's go before they bring drones. They slipped through the hangar's side exit into the maze of narrow maintenance tunnels beneath the city. The metallic corridors pulsed with faint blue light, the hum of energy conduits echoing around them. Kira walked ahead, spear in hand, moving with the quiet grace of a predator. Jarek followed, trying not to trip over debris. So, he whispered, what exactly did you do that made the Galactic Patrol put a bounty on you? She didn't slow down. I refused an arranged bond. My clan's elder demanded I merge with a noble from the Obsidian Circle. That sounds fancy. It was not. It was politics. I chose freedom instead. He frowned. So they branded you a traitor because you didn't want to marry someone you didn't love? Yes, she said bitterly. On my world, love is weakness. Loyalty to the bloodline is all that matters. Jarek's jaw tightened. Then I guess I'm glad you're on mine. We kind of specialize in emotional chaos. Her laugh echoed down the tunnel. Emotional chaos. Yes, that seems accurate for you. Thanks. I try my best. They reached an access shaft leading upward. Jarek climbed first, grumbling under his breath. You'd think with all our advanced tech, someone would have invented stairs. Your species evolved humor instead of efficiency, Kira said dryly, following him with infuriating ease. At the top, they emerged into the lower decks of a hollow club, the air thick with neon smoke, synth music, and the unmistakable scent of trouble. Jarek peeked out. Okay, new plan. We blend in. Kira looked down at herself. Blend in? I am 7 feet tall and purple. Yeah, but it's a club. You'll fit right in. A holographic dancer nearby flickered and glitched mid-performance, causing drunken aliens to cheer. Kira gave Jarek a deadpan look. This is madness. Welcome to nightlife, Earth-style, he said, grabbing her hand before she could protest. The moment his fingers touched hers, she froze, but didn't pull away. They moved through the crowd, passing beings of every shape and color. The thumping beat made conversation impossible, but Kira's senses stayed sharp. Every flicker of light, every shadow near the exit drew her gaze. Then she noticed them. 2 armored patrol agents pushing through the dancers. Jarek saw her stiffen. Don't look, don't panic, he muttered. Just dance, dance, she hissed. You mean that erratic shaking you humans call movement? Yes, now. Before she could protest again, Jarek pulled her closer, one arm around her waist. She tensed like he'd just activated a bomb. What are you? Trust me, he whispered against her ear. Her breath caught. The bass pulsed through the floor, lights flashing red and gold. For a moment, even the panic faded. Her body moved stiffly at first, but soon she began to match his rhythm, finding strange comfort in the closeness. See? Jarek said, smiling. Not so bad. You are too close, she said quietly, voice trembling somewhere between annoyance and something else. That's the point. The patrol agents glanced around the crowd, scanning faces. Jarek turned slightly, shielding Kira from view. Her claws brushed lightly against his back, not as a threat, but as if anchoring herself. When the agents passed, she finally looked up at him. You risked capture for this ridiculous dance. Worked, didn't it? She hesitated, then gave a small, reluctant nod. You are insane. Thanks. I'm taking that as affection. You shouldn't, she replied, though her smile betrayed her. They left the club through a service exit, finding themselves in a narrow alley, glowing with advertisements for interplanetary dating apps. Kira stared at one of them, an image of a human kissing a tentacled alien, with visible confusion. Your species will mate with anything, won't you? She asked. Jarek smirked. We call it being open-minded. She shook her head, half laughing. You are all doomed. Probably, he admitted. But we'll die trying to flirt with destiny. Suddenly, a drone spotlight swept the alley. Kira spun, throwing her spear. It hit the drone dead center, exploding in a shower of sparks. Jarek whistled. Okay, that was hot. She turned sharply. You find destruction arousing? Only when it's saving my life. Kira rolled her eyes but didn't hide the faint smile tugging her lips. They sprinted through the alleys, finally reaching the outskirts of the city. There, under the neon glow fading into dawn, stood a half-broken freighter. Jarek patted its hull. Old girl's called Lunara. She still flies if you sweet-talk her. You name your ships like pets? Kira asked. Pets, lovers, same thing when you're a mechanic. She snorted. You are hopeless. As the engines roared to life, Jarek looked over at her in the co-pilot seat. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dim cabin light. Once we're out of orbit, he said, you'll be free. No bounty, no hunters, no arranged marriage. She looked at him silently for a long moment. You speak as if you will not be there, he smiled. You'll have your freedom. You won't need me, her voice softened. Perhaps freedom means choosing who I need, he froze, caught off guard by the sincerity beneath her words. Before he could respond, the comm crackled. Unidentified vessel, halt immediately or be fired upon. Kira's expression hardened. Seems our conversation must wait. Jarek grinned, flipping switches. You know, for someone who swore not to listen to me, you're doing great following my bad ideas. She gave him a sharp smile. I said I wouldn't listen. Not that I wouldn't enjoy them. The freighter shot upward through the smog. Engines screaming, alarms blaring, and amid all the chaos, the two fugitives laughed like lunatics racing straight into trouble together. The Lunara screamed through the upper atmosphere, rattling like a tin can full of fireworks. Plasma bolts lit the sky behind them, each one narrowly missing the hull. Inside the cockpit, Jarek's hands flew over the controls while Kira clung to the console, her tail thrashing in frustration. "Are you sure this thing flies?" she shouted over the alarms. "It flies great," Jarek yelled back. "It just complains a lot." Another explosion rocked the ship. Sparks flew. Kira grabbed the ceiling handle to steady herself. "Your complaining machine is on fire!" Jarek squinted at the blinking red lights. "That's not fire, that's ambient excitement. You humans redefine disaster as enthusiasm." He grinned, teeth flashing in the flickering light. "It's part of our charm." The pursuing patrol ship appeared on their rear scanner, sleek and polished compared to the Lunara's rust and grit. Kira's spear glowed faintly as she looked back through the viewport. "They will not stop until one of us is dust." "Well, good news," Jarek said, punching a few keys. "Dust is kind of our specialty." He flipped a lever marked "Do Not Touch," and the ship's rear compartment exploded open, ejecting a cloud of metallic debris, old engine plates, scrap panels, and one very confused cleaning drone. The patrol's targeting system immediately locked onto the false signatures. A plasma burst detonated among the junk, and for a brief moment, they were out of the crosshairs. Jarek whooped. "Ha! Outsmarted by garbage. Welcome to humanity's finest tradition." Kira's ears twitched in disbelief. "You used literal trash to save us?" "Hey, recycling saves lives." Her laugh, sharp, bright, and absolutely unexpected, echoed through the cabin. "You are insane, human. Insane and effective." The moment didn't last. Another alarm blared. "Rear thrusters overheating." The ship's AI droned. Jarek banged the control panel. "Shut up, Gloria, no one asked you." Kira blinked. "You named your ship's voice?" "Yeah, she's sassy, unreliable, and yells at me. Basically my type." Kira's eyes narrowed in amusement. "You prefer women who insult you?" "It keeps things interesting." She tilted her head. "You find conflict attractive?" "Only when it's wearing purple armor and threatening me." Her jaw tightened, but her eyes gleamed with laughter she was trying very hard to suppress. "Your mating rituals are strange, Jarek of Earth. Flirting under fire. Pretty standard Tuesday for us." He pulled a hard bank, and the ship dove through the upper cloud layer, skimming so low that atmospheric plasma flared along the hull. The patrol ship followed, firing wildly. Kira reached for the auxiliary controls. "If we survive this, I will personally dismantle your navigational system for being too dramatic." "Deal," he shouted, sweat trickling down his temple. "Also," she added, gripping her seat, "if we die, I will haunt you forever." He laughed. "Now that's romantic." Their pursuers gained ground again. Kira's eyes darted to the weapons panel. "What does this button do?" Jarek glanced over. Probably nothing good." "Excellent," she said, pressing it. A sudden burst of energy flared from the Lunara's rear thrusters, an unstable plasma wave that tore through the clouds and engulfed the patrol ship. The resulting explosion painted the sky pink and orange, like fireworks made of pure chaos. Both of them sat in stunned silence for a moment. Jarek finally exhaled. "Remind me never to doubt you again." Kira looked at her hand, still on the button, and smiled faintly. "You were correct." "That was exciting. See? You're starting to get the hang of this bad idea thing." The ship continued limping upward until they broke free of the planet's atmosphere. Stars unfolded around them like a glittering sea. The chaos below faded into quiet. For the first time since they met, everything was still. Jarek leaned back in his chair, breathing heavily. Okay, we're alive. Somehow." Kira looked out the viewport, the starlight reflecting in her eyes. "You risked everything." "For me," he shrugged. "Wouldn't be the first time I made a bad investment." Her expression softened. "And yet," "You smile," he turned to her, "because you're here to see it." There was silence for a long moment, one of those silences that said more than words. She finally looked away. "On my world, such words would be dangerous." Good thing we're not on your world. Her gaze returned to him, steady and intense. You keep saying foolish things, human. I like to think of them as honest. Honesty, she murmured, is a weapon most species cannot wield without cutting themselves. He grinned. Guess I'm bleeding already. She stared at him, her usual guardedness fading just a little. You are unlike any male I have met. Flattery detected, he said playfully. Warning, heart rate increasing. She actually laughed, quietly, almost shyly. You turn even fear into humor. It's what humans do best. That, and falling for people we really shouldn't. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Then she said, barely above a whisper, Then perhaps we are not so different. Jarek's reply was interrupted by a proximity alarm. He groaned. Seriously? I was just about to be emotionally vulnerable. Focus, she snapped, instantly back in warrior mode. A new blip appeared on the radar, a massive cruiser, twice the size of the Lunara, emerging from the dark. Kira's pupils narrowed. That symbol? It is the Obsidian Circle, your ex-fiancé's family. Yes, she said grimly. And they do not come to negotiate. Jarek cracked his knuckles. Good. I hate small talk. He shifted the controls and angled the ship toward an asteroid field. Hold on tight, we're going in! The Lunara dove between tumbling rocks, weaving through the debris. The cruiser followed, firing blasts that shattered asteroids into clouds of glowing dust. Kira clung to the overhead bar. This is madness. Correction, Jarek yelled. This is foreplay with gravity. She shot him a glare that was equal parts fury and amusement. You flirt in every situation, don't you? Only when I'm terrified. As they twisted between asteroids, she leaned over him, gripping the console. Her scent, metallic and faintly floral, filled his senses. He felt his pulse race in a way that had nothing to do with the danger outside. She noticed. Your heartbeat is irregular. Yeah, he said with a nervous grin. You're kind of hard to ignore. The cruiser's next blast grazed their wing, sending the ship spinning. Sparks flew, alarms screamed, and Kira braced against him. The two pressed close as the ship stabilized. When they leveled out, she didn't immediately move away. Her eyes met his, close, unguarded, fierce. Human, she said quietly. When this ends, we will have much to discuss. Promise? She tilted her head, her voice low. If you live, he grinned. Flirting and threats in one sentence. You really do get me. Outside, the Lunara dove deeper into the asteroid field. The chaos of battle blazing around them like cosmic fireworks. Two fugitives, laughing, flirting, and defying an empire one bad idea at a time. Stars burned like molten silver around them. The Lunara was limping, one thruster half dead, the cockpit lights flickering like a dying nightclub. But it was still flying somehow. Yarek's hands were steady on the controls, though every part of the ship screamed for mercy. Status? He panted. Kira glanced at the console. Hull integrity, 15%. 15's good, he said. That's like, an optimistic F. Your grading system is absurd. Welcome to humanity. We celebrate barely surviving. Kira smirked faintly, but her expression quickly hardened. The cruiser is locking weapons again. He squinted at the radar. Yeah, they're definitely not sending us a fruit basket. The Obsidian Circle cruiser loomed behind them, a black leviathan glittering with crimson lights. Its voice thundered through the comms. Return the fugitive. You are trespassing in noble airspace. Jarek flicked the comm switch. This is Captain Jarek of the independent vessel Lunara. You can kindly go vacuum yourselves. Kira turned sharply toward him. You just insulted the High Lord of the Circle. I know, he said proudly. Felt good. The comm crackled again. Prepare to be vaporized. Kira rose from her seat, spear in hand, eyes glowing faintly violet. Then let them try. Whoa, warrior mode again? He said, standing too. You're not thinking of, I am done running, she interrupted. I will face them, as I should have before. Jarek grabbed her wrist. No, you're not doing this alone. Her gaze softened for a heartbeat. You would die for a woman who insulted you, threatened you, and nearly killed you? He grinned. I've dated worse. She blinked, then laughed despite herself. You are impossible. That's my charm. He moved to the weapons console. All right, let's even the odds. I still have one trick left. Might fry the ship, but it'll make a hell of a light show. She arched a brow. You mean to destroy yourself as a distraction? Don't be dramatic, he said. just slightly explode. The Lunara rocked as another plasma shot hit their hull. Warning lights flared. Kira steadied herself on the console, her hand brushing his. "Human," she said softly. "Why did you buy me?" He turned toward her, sweat and starlight glinting on his face. "At first? I don't know. Maybe I felt sorry. Maybe I was drunk. But now..." He exhaled, meeting her gaze. "Now I think it's because I knew you'd change everything." She froze, her throat tightening. "You are..." Reckless with words. "Yeah," he said, "and feelings." The ship jolted again. Outside, the cruiser's cannons charged, glowing crimson. "Now or never," Jarek said, slamming the emergency override. "Gloria, activate the fusion dump!" The AI's voice crackled. "Warning, this maneuver is classified as suicidal." "Yeah," he said, "but sexy suicidal, right?" Kira rolled her eyes. "You flirt even with machines." The Lunara's rear core glowed white-hot. Jarek threw the ship into a hard spin, ejecting a burst of overcharged plasma toward the cruiser. The shockwave ignited into a blinding explosion, scattering asteroids in every direction. When the light cleared, the cruiser was crippled, its engines dead, hull cracked. The Lunara drifted through the debris field, battered but alive. Inside, silence filled the cockpit. Smoke curled lazily from a burnt control panel. Kira turned to him, her voice quiet but steady. "You did it. We did it," he said, grinning weakly. "See? Only mostly exploded," she laughed, low and genuine. "Your kind truly thrives on chaos. It's our love language." Her expression softened again. "And now what? You have nothing left to gain from helping me." Jarek leaned back, watching the stars spin slowly outside. "Who said I wanted to gain anything? You could sell my freedom to the next highest bidder. You could leave me on any habitable moon." "Yeah," he said. "Could, but then who'd yell at me every morning?" She tilted her head. "You wish me to stay?" He hesitated for a moment, then said quietly, "Yeah, I do." She studied him, her eyes unreadable. "On my world, when one offers protection without demand, it is called bond pledge. It binds two souls under shared danger." "Sounds romantic," he said. "It is sacred," she replied, "and dangerous." "I like dangerous," he said softly. She stepped closer until only inches separated them. "Then you should know, human. Once spoken, it cannot be undone." He smiled faintly. "I've never been good at undoing things." Her eyes glowed brighter. "Then hear my words. Treth Valley Komar." The alien phrase resonated in the air like a vibration, deep and electric. The lights flickered, reacting to some energy he couldn't see. "What does that mean?" he asked, voice low. "It means," she said slowly, "your life is now bound to mine." "Foolish, brave, irritating man," he chuckled. "And here I thought you didn't like me." "I don't," she said, smiling faintly. "I respect you." Which is far worse. Their laughter filled the cabin, softer this time, relieved, exhausted, maybe even affectionate. As the Lunara drifted toward the light of a distant planet, Jarek reached for the comm panel. "So, any chance your people's marriage customs involve less paperwork?" Kira raised an eyebrow. "Marriage? Just checking." "I mean, you did say we're soul-bound. Sounds pretty official." She pretended to consider. "Perhaps. Though on my world, consummation involves ritual combat," he grinned. "Figures. Our first date ends with trying to kill each other." She smirked. "It already did, remember?" He laughed, the sound echoing into the stars. Outside, the wreckage of the obsidian cruiser burned silently in space, a reminder of everything they'd survived. Inside, two enemies turned allies sat together in the flickering glow of the half-broken cockpit, bruised, smiling, and utterly unsure what came next. "Human," Kira said softly, leaning back. "If this is your idea of a rescue, I am almost impressed." "Almost? Come on." Her tail flicked teasingly. "Earn the rest." Jarek's grin widened. Challenge accepted. The Lunara hummed quietly as it drifted toward a new sunrise, carrying with it a reckless mechanic, a defiant alien warrior, and one hell of a story neither of them would ever admit was romantic, at least not yet.